Probably go on demand, yeah.
Tomorrow.
Okay, call to order 7:10.
7:10. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so we've got all sorts of minutes to go through.
Okay.
Three are non-public. One is non-public that was sealed. So if you have any concerns or questions about that, we'll need to go into non-public to discuss. So two of those were ones that we asked Karen to revise.
Okay, so what I did is the July 14th non-public. You have two of them. One of them says, at the top it says non-public session 1, and then the other at the top on July 14th says non-public session 2. And what I did is I just broke apart the two topics that we discussed in non-public session on July 14th. And so there they are. Then I've given you,
Good. Yeah,
go ahead.
fine.
And then I've given you August 18th's minutes, which are this week's minutes. I printed out a copy for this month's minutes. And it just says draft at the top. That's 4 pages. And then also on August 18th is the non-public session that we had after last month's. Finally, you should have August 6th non-public minutes, and it says sealed after that. So, and then that is that.
So some of this I haven't had time to read. So everyone take a couple minutes just to read through what they've got.
All the non-public ones here. One quick question. Have you done this in the other ones? I never noticed it, where you put the motion to adjourn.
No, I put it there because we never went into public session to do anything.
Okay,
That
so
was
that's
that
the only
meeting,
public part of the meeting.
that entire meeting, yes, that was the only public part of the meeting.
Okay.
That's why I
was
did
gonna
that.
say, I never noticed you doing
Right,
that.
because I didn't.
I would think it would be part of the public minutes.
Right. But that was the only part.
Thank you. Is the 18th one different from what you sent out, the public part? Or did you not send this one? It was just not one?
I did send it out. You mean, yeah, the 4 pages?
Yeah.
No, I don't think it is different.
So this one I worked with.
You're keeping both the sessions for July, both the first one you did and the second, right? You weren't asking to delete one of them.
No, we asked her to break them out because there were two separate.
Two separate sets, that's
non-publics,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
I know I just
What should I do? Because it's only going to be
They put the most
filed as a hard copy.
Why do you want to leave through everything else to get to the bottom, which is today?
Does anybody have any edits or questions?
On any of these? There's a spelling
Yeah, I
in one of them.
saw it too.
There's a spelling in one of the non-public ones.
Okay.
Spelling?
Yeah,
It's like
we
that.
should have numbered these.
Well,
Well,
I
just pass to her.
yeah,
yes.
yeah, this one.
What's wrong with it?
Oh, okay.
Spelling error.
It's just a name. pass it down. I'll
Yeah,
pass
go
it
ahead.
down just so you're aware of the change. That's in
Yeah,
the sealed
she
minutes,
showed me,
so.
thank you.
Okay. Okay, so do we want one motion to accept all the minutes?
If no one has changes,
What is it, 4 sets of minutes?
yes. So,
Are you speaking of these four?
Well, it's 4
These,
different
you're
meetings,
speaking
because
of
the
these.
one is part 1, part 2, so do we?
Right, you're not
a
including
motion-
this one.
Yeah,
You just
I was
these.
including all of them.
all of them.
Oh, this
Just
one, I
one,
looked at this
two.
one.
Yep, so we have August 18th business meeting, August 18th non-public, July 14th non-public.
Well, I'll make the motion to approve all the non-public
Okay.
Yeah,
minutes
a
first.
second, yeah.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Who seconded?
Laura.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and then we have, so that was on the non-publics.
Okay.
So 8:18, 7:14, and 8:06.
Yep.
Do we have a motion to accept the 8:18 business meeting minutes? Second? Or did you still need time to review?
No, it's okay. It looks pretty.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, committee updates, Friends of the Merrimack Public Library. Rick, do you have
They
any updates?
postponed, so they're meeting next week, right?
Yeah.
20th?
24?
24th, yeah. Yeah, 24th.
Okay, Development Fund meets on October 19th, so there's no updates. Website redesign committee, Yvette, do you just have a quick update on the status?
Yeah, we were kind of aiming for the end of August for the upgrade in the website, but we're not quite ready with our pages, so we're just still each plugging along and making the changes we need to make and planning for the end of September. So it will eventually get up, so.
Oh, we have to turn them in.
Okay. Okay.
All right, Building Development and Marketing Committee on hiatus, Town Center Committee. Karen, were there any updates?
Nothing that related to the library. Just, I got into the meeting a little late, so I didn't really hear. I mean, it was a lot about, the trails and getting the money from the grants and things like that.
Okay.
I'll include a fuller report next time.
Personnel HR Committee, I don't think we really have any updates. There's going to be talk of job descriptions, personnel forms under new business. Other than that, I don't think we have any.
No.
Library Building Maintenance Committee, nothing.
Well, we're going to have the window put in. I don't know if that's in your.
That's in my report.
Oh, good.
Okay, so we'll cover that.
We don't want to reveal anything.
Turkey Shoot Committee. Anybody have updates? That's going to be
Well, that
Friends.
would be
probably.
me.
Hey, now,
Now I can talk.
please.
Now I'm allowed. I have a legitimate purpose. So, we had our first Turkey Shoot meeting last Saturday with the same folks from last year. And so now that we have gone through this, we have a process. So it should go a little more smoothly this year. And we've created a new business list. And we will be pulling that together and sending letters out and working to raise money for the library. One thing we wanted to do was look at what are the 3 top needs that we might be able to focus on for this particular fundraiser, and let businesses know that this is really what we're looking to raise money for, so it doesn't feel nebulous. And looking to make a couple of changes within the Turkey Shoot to make it more exciting and fun, and folks will plan to attend. It's always the Thursday before Thanksgiving at the Merrimack High School at 6 o'clock.
Okay, new business. We have security. Yvette, do you want to talk about that a little bit? I think we just wanted to bring security, we discussed after the last meeting, bringing up just a couple of security issues or a single security issue, just to make people aware why we might be looking at.
Yeah, I mean, we've had incidents over the years of incidents. I'm not sure if I am really at liberty to talk in detail about some of the incidents we've had, but you know, we're trying to make the building more secure for both the patrons and the staff. Some of the things that we're already on the way implementing is installing some lockers in the staff kitchen. So that is kind of a multi-step thing because there's not a lot of places where we can put staff lockers in the building. So the staff kitchen is really the only place. Those have been ordered. I had to clear out an area in the kitchen so that they could fit. So now I really just need to call the vendor and say, area is cleared, we're ready to go. And then we will purchase locks. We will provide the locks for the staff. I think it's a burden to require them. I think at this point, you know, the department heads, we sat down and talked about it. I think at this point we think it's a burden to require the staff to provide their own locks. But we'll also probably need to invest in some bolt cutters if we don't already own those, just in case we need to open a lock if someone...
They're not combination locks. Of course, one can lose combinations.
Well, you know, I would personally be in favor of a combination lock. I've worked in other places where I had to provide my own lock, not libraries, but I worked at the Notre Dame bookstore for a season, a football season, and we did have to provide our own locks. And you know, I think there was some concern that, you know, I would have to hold their combination in case I needed to get into a locker. Or you could get the kind of you can get the kind of lock that has 2 sets of keys. So then I'd only have to hold a key. So, you know, it's kind of...
Or what do you think is easier to manage?
I don't know. I think they're equally the same. I don't necessarily think one is easier than the other. I think, you know, because then you have either someone is forgetting their combination or someone is losing a key. I mean, it's kind of, for me, it's a little bit of a, you know, eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Personally, I'd lean towards letting them bring their own locks.
Are you thinking that? Do you think so?
I don't know.
I never worked anywhere where they were supplied, and that would make them responsible for their own lock.
But again, you would need the bolt cutters just in case.
Yeah,
for
sure.
Sure.
I mean, I think this could be, you know, equated to if you work, let's say I worked at the Manchester City Library, I would need to pay for my own parking. You know, I'd need to feed a meter every day. So, you know, I think it was just trying not to incur a cost on the staff and making it a burden for them. I mean, if you guys feel differently.
Well, it's not a big expense.
I mean,
but
locks aren't expensive.
if you feel that it will work better for the staff, I don't object to that.
I think either way, though, whether it's a combination lock or a key lock, there's still an overhead for you that you should have the combination or you should have a combination
Exactly,
key.
I do. Yeah.
So,
The other way, you don't have any of that responsibility. If they provide their own, you don't take on any responsibility for their locker, that's all.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm wondering, do we need to come up with any kind of policy regarding this, you know?
Well,
Well, that could be in the staff manual, right?
yeah, we haven't really updated the whole staff manual. That's a good point.
Is that, well, what I'm wondering, is there like any kind of policy in your manual already about like the privacy in their desks or anything like that for the people who have desks?
I don't actually think so. I mean, I think the practice at the library is that, you know, none of the staff desks belong to anyone. I mean, everyone's, I think, really responsible for their own, securing their own personal belongings. You know, some computers have confidential material on it, like my computer, or, you know, my office has personnel files in it, which would also be confidential. But in terms of, you know, most of the desks, no.
Well, personally, I would leave that decision up to you, because you're working there every day. But I think Rick's right. We would need a policy around that
Okay.
if we're providing something.
At least something in the employee manual.
Yeah, that says whose responsibility, and they return it when they leave, and that kind of thing.
Okay.
Well, you also have to work out, there's going to be less lockers than there are total employees, so you have to work out.
Sharing.
When you leave your shift, you must take the lock
Okay.
off.
What do you mean must take
But if
the
the
lock
library
off?
provides them, then however many locks there are, I mean, if you have 8 lockers, then you need 8 locks. Or
We'll
a
have
couple
12.
extras. Okay, 12.
Yeah.
So technically it's like, okay, they're just going to go to some place that has a lock, and they don't need to have a lock necessary for every single person. They could just have a lock for that locker.
Share a combination or share keys or something.
I think they're going to have to. I think it's too much to deal with to switch them like that, personally.
Actually, you know, making me lean toward, maybe the library should provide the locks if there aren't enough
Yeah.
lockers. That way, you know, you give 2 employees the combo for the same lock.
I mean, it's just
locker
like
if
at
they-
school, right? You share a
Yeah,
locker.
exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's, we'll leave that up to you, I think, to put in, unless you want us to
No.
make up a specific policy.
No.
But,
No, I'll work on that.
okay.
I mean, I don't have the. Did you just?
Well, I do.
Like everything else.
Thanks. Thank you, Rick. I'm so glad to take that gift from you.
Your department head.
Yeah. I mean, the lockers aren't installed yet, so there's definitely time to write a policy, and I'll work on that. Okay. I mean, the other thing that we've talked about are we made a purchase right at the beginning of the fiscal year. It was right around the fiscal year end and beginning. We made a purchase of some mirrors that could provide a little more visibility in certain areas of the building just because of the height of the stacks. And then, you know, something that we've talked about is, you know, having a pass card system put in at the entrances or different offices. I have not moved at all on that. And then, you know, the other thing would be moving to video cameras. Several of the libraries, I know Bedford and Manchester City, both have security cameras throughout their building. And that's, you know, cameras that are set, and then the screens to view the cameras are accessible in the director's office. So that's another thing that we can explore. Get prices this year. We can certainly include that kind of expense on the CIPs. That would be a larger expense. So it's kind of
That would
stuff that we're
coincide
thinking
with moving to a sliding
the pass card, yeah.
pass card for time clock. as well.
Yeah, you know, I've been I put the question out on the listserv, and the listserv is, you know, the libraries in New Hampshire were all on a listserv that's operated by the state. It's managed by the state. And so if you have a question at your library and you want to know how other libraries deal with the problem or issue or whatever it is, then you just kind of push your question like a regular listserv operates. I'm sure everyone knows that. So I did post, you know, how many libraries use a time clock, and there are not a lot of libraries that do use a time clock. Most of the responses I got, I didn't get a lot of responses, but most of the responses I got, people had used time clocks in other businesses that they worked at. You know, when I worked at Notre Dame Bookstore, like I said, then I had to punch in on my time clock and use my little combination locker and stuff. But I think, it would be easier to track the hours and, if anyone is, sometimes people will work and they'll really go down to the last 5 minutes, God bless them, but that's really hard to figure mathematically when you're doing 23 time cards. So I think it's just moving towards efficiency. But yeah, I think when we look at the pass cards for a lock, we can see if there's a system out there that exists that we could install in our current building that would incorporate a time
Yeah.
clock.
And then you had said town hall and police
Yeah,
room
that-
cards, so.
Yeah, apparently that's, that just kind of came down the pike. So I'm not quite sure what vendor they use, but I was going to email Paul and find out, that would be a good vendor to use, obviously.
Yeah, regarding the security cameras, which libraries did you say had them? Bedford and what?
I know Bedford and Manchester City libraries.
Okay.
Manchester City is a city, and they have a larger building, a lot more blind spots than we do, multiple levels. And then Bedford, it's a smaller building. It's a little bit of a complicated building because it's like two buildings put together. But and the community isn't a city. I think it would be equivalent to Merrimack, but it's still a public building, still a public space. You're still open to everybody, and things
I'm just
happen.
interested in kind of getting an idea where they're located in the building, because you do want to keep, privacy for people
Yeah,
working on the computers and things.
well,
like that.
sure, yeah. I mean,
feel like, Big Brother's watching them. But
yeah.
at
I
the
mean,
same
you're
time, want 'em in-
you're going to put them at entrances, and we'd have to see what we felt are more vulnerable areas of the building would be. Again, blind spots. You're not allowed to put cameras by a bathroom. That's or in a bathroom either. It's not allowed. I mean, probably shooting from the hallway.
Well, I
To
was
see the
thinking
general
more like
movement
where
in the hallway.
computers are versus where the cameras would be. Or
Right. Yeah, and probably, we're going to be reconfiguring the main floor, I would say at the end of the fall. I think we're getting really, because we reconfigured the teen room and the magazine area. Now we're finalizing the floor plan for the main floor between the circulation desk and all the way out to where we moved the magazines to. And part of the floor plan is to rearrange the computer so we can provide more privacy to both people using computers and people asking their reference questions, because really with everyone kind of huddled around the reference desk, there's not a lot of privacy for when someone's asking a question. So, I think when we finish the floor plan, then it would be good to think about the camera placement then, because that'll be done. I think the most recent floor plan that we liked has the computers not clustered around, but more like at a table. So let's say there are 8. They're kind of 8 together. And then kind of where, right after magazines, it's in that area over there. So, yeah. But that, really, it really is bringing in an expert and saying, here's what kind of coverage can we get, so. Okay. Well,
We'll also see we're closing more doors, locking more doors.
we are trying to close the doors that lead to staff areas and staff offices. It's really not appropriate for the public to be in a staff office unless there's a meeting and there's a reason to be in there. But wandering through the building, it's disruptive, and it's really not appropriate. Plenty of public spaces for people to work and occupy themselves and enjoy themselves, but there's my office. I now shut my public-facing door. Behind the circulation desk is the tech services office where they process and order materials, and that door, sometimes it's propped open because the staff are moving between the two offices working, but sometimes it's closed. If there aren't staff working in there and the office is closed, then there's no reason for anyone to be in there, really. And then there's a lower office. There's a staff workroom in the children's room. Sometimes that might be open if people are moving between the two spaces. And then there's the staff office right next to the elevator is another area that we've just been kind of shutting the door. And right now the interior doors aren't locked. That's kind of another burden of how many copies of keys do we have to make, and who holds the keys, and it's a little more complicated than just saying lock the door. So, but a pass card would be much easier, because then you could just. So.
Okay. Does anybody have questions for Yvette on any of that? Okay, so I'm going to bounce it back to Yvette for CIP forms.
Okay. Yeah, these were very large, so
Oh, those.
I printed them off on the legal size paper. How I thought about this. Okay, so I'll just maybe take one and pass. Okay, so you're gonna get like 5 pieces of paper.
So just for Janet, when you were taking a look at it, this is the capital improvements program of the town. And it goes out, what, 6 years?
Yeah.
And so we put on it major and minor projects. Major projects are $10,000.
I kind of thought it was 15 over, but
How much are you, 50?
I think it's 50.
50?
Is a major. But, traditionally, the library had only ever put new library building on the CIP, and that was a $6 million project. That was something that was estimated some years ago, and I don't think it has been revisited recently. But there are, if you look at the first 2 pages, Schedule 1, Schedule 2, the major projects list, there are some building projects that you probably remember hearing about in town. The Public Works Garage and the South Fire Station are 2 buildings that are ahead of the library. Bridge replacements that happen in the town, that also goes on this. When we get to the budget season, Eileen does a really nice presentation. It's very clear about all of the building projects that are slated for the town, and the tax impact on the residents. There's a second page that I printed the tax impact. I just thought it was really interesting how it's spread out over the years. That's like the second page I sent around.
So Schedule 1, okay.
So for us, on the first one for major projects, we're down here on 18, 19, 20, 21. So we've got the parking lot repaving, which also includes the walkway at the entrance that's broken. This is on the one that's like red and blue and green. Okay. And that individual project is here. That's what we submitted last year. So I had called a vendor, and they had quoted $45,000 to repave the parking lot. And, this was probably a couple years ago already. And then when I spoke to Paul about the sidewalk, he suggested folding it into the repaving project. So that would be repaving the whole parking lot, striping it, and then fixing the sidewalk that's broken, where there's a ramp.
But that's concrete.
But it abuts the parking lot. Because I said, is this something do you think would be appropriate to approach Public Works to fix the sidewalk part? And he said, no, just loop it into this project since they touch.
Is there already a capital reserve fund for library maintenance?
We have, and we had put in for this year, there's $10,000 in the budget, and that was mostly the floor plan rearrangement that we're doing and dealing with any kind of electrical work that we have to do, which, I think I was budgeting a little bit high for electrical work, because as we're narrowing down and getting very close to it, we didn't spend anything for rewiring for the teen switch.
Well, that's in the library budget itself. I'm saying, is there an actual capital reserve
It-
fund?
It was in it.
Oh, that's the one we closed out, basically.
It seems $6 million for a new library is rather low.
That's very interesting because it's considered to be high in Merrimack.
Really?
So I think whenever we get there and we want to revisit what it might look like, a new library, I mean, the square footage was doubled. I thought it was a nice library, as libraries go, but I think the concern was that it was the Taj Mahal and a little too fancy. I mean, I wasn't part of that process at all. This was way before me. But, you know, I think it's, you know, this was, I think, what this was like 2009? I mean, we operate differently now in the library, and I'm hoping the changes that we're making in the interior floor plans are really showing us how far we can push the building. You know, I'll give you an example. Tomorrow, we have double booked the clump room. It was a former staff who was booking lots of things and didn't realize we had a running Dungeons and Dragons meeting in there and booked a speaker. So now we have to split the room with a collapsible wall, which is fine, but it's really not presenting our best face to the public or our presenters. I mean, it was an oversight. This person's not here anymore, so we have to deal with the flack. But, you know, if the meeting rooms are getting so much use, then we're already seeing, okay, well, people want to have quiet study spaces now, and, you know, we're just trying to watch their habits. Quiet study spaces is the big... No, we don't. I mean, it really depends on what does the community need. You know, I think when we talk about the meeting room and outside political groups wanting to come in, that's kind of outside. You know, that's okay, but, you know, what about a regular, when it's not political season and it's a regular day? You know, we have a lot of demands for the meeting room and also for quiet study spaces, and people are just working. I mean, I passed by a woman the other day. She took up an entire table with 4 seats on it. You know, the habits of how people work, they don't share. They don't share space. You're not look at me. I'm here. I just this is normal for me. You know, I take up a lot of space in my whatever. But yeah, I mean, I think we're gonna be able to see how people use the space and what else might they need. You know, also with our collections, you know, we're moving away from certain kind of print reference, and really being able to utilize our electronic resources. You don't need square footage for that. It's a different kind of people space that we're seeing the need for. But yeah, so I have no idea what it would cost when we get there. If it's $6 million or if it's lower or higher, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't actually concern me. I'm pretty positive about the future of the library and what possibilities are available when we get there, and you know, I think it's going to be exciting. I think it would be nice to have, you know, locks and a HVAC that works and sprinkler system that works, and, you know, I mean, different systems. I'm thinking more of the building systems than.
I'm also thinking about the fact that these are all $200,000 projects. We just spent $100,000 on the roof. Well, pretty soon you're adding it. You're spending more on the building than you may as well have a new building to, you know, rather than be constantly patching.
I mean, we could have a whole meeting about
Oh yeah, for sure.
the mistakes or discussions that have come up with the prior libraries.
Yeah.
That went up for votes.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't here. I didn't live in town at all, but I know you
One
guys.
thing I heard, you know, I don't know, it was, I guess in the Merrimack Journal or one of those papers, they had a sketch of the inside of the library, and in the sketch, they showed one of the seating areas in the new building, and they had a tree in the middle of it. And
You mean for a different library?
no, for the Merrimack Library. But the plan, if you look at the floor plan, there was no plants in the building, you know, but the sketch that they had done in the newspaper had a tree. And because of that, it's like, well, now you're wasting all this book space with trees. It's like, well, okay, well, that's what the newspaper put out. So, I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
So the trustees at that time, this was before Jen or I were on the trustees, but, you know, they were criticized for, you know, why are you putting these big trees in the middle of the library, wasting all this space? And they're like, but we didn't, so,
Somebody put
yeah,
that
you
there.
gotta take the blame for what you actually did, for
Yeah.
what newspapers envision, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 6 million is just, we're just kind of recycling a number
Right.
that was brought up years
Exactly.
ago. So right now, we don't, until we get to a point where we're sitting down with somebody who actually can give us a number, 6 million is what we're holding on to for now.
Yeah.
Of course, I just forwarded you the thing about the Keene Library, which they're
Mhm.
reworking an annex building, and they're going to make an attachment to that. And that was $8 million.
Well,
and
that's also-
an existing
Yeah, I
building.
mean, that's also two buildings that are across the street from each other. So how are you going to, you have to build some kind of walkway or
Yeah,
bridge or
there's
something,
issues
I
with
mean,
that.
that's going to be really different.
I rest my case.
My understanding is Keene with the university and everything, they have more money than, coming into their local government than they know what to do with compared to Merrimack.
Well, I don't know if it's local government, because when I worked in Durham, the town and the university are separate. They were fortunate, and they still have one of the trustees as the architect for UNH, so their new building, which is absolutely stunning. It was if you've been, you have to go to Durham and just look at the new library, because we were in a storefront when I worked there. And then they were given a house. A gentleman's wife died, and he donated his house to the library, and then they built a library incorporating the brick house in the design, and it's stunning. I mean, it is not the Taj Mahal. That is absolutely not what I mean. It is beautiful, and it maintains the character of Durham. Very New England building. Absolutely stunning. All of the decor honors the seacoast feel. I mean, it's really beautiful, beautiful library that the town can be very proud of. But it took them 11 or 12 years to raise the funds, for this building, and then they had the donation. So, and this fellow had, grounds. His property was big enough to actually accommodate a parking lot as well.
Oh.
Yeah, it's really, I mean,
Very nice.
very, very lovely.
At one of the conferences, was anybody else in that one? I sat in with that, you and I maybe.
Yeah,
We sat and they talked about that whole
Yeah.
process.
very long, long, long process.
So in that article, the Keene Library, it sounds like they want to try to raise some, 5 million of that.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting to watch and see how are they raising $5 million, what are they doing?
Well, that's what we need to do, is really raise some serious money, so the impact isn't so much on the taxpayers.
Next year's project.
Sure. Write it down.
Okay, so that was buildings.
Yeah, so, Yeah, HVAC was another one we put on last year. I would recommend keeping that one as well. The HVAC, we've been having our vendor come in and do repairs throughout the season. For example, my unit, I had no air conditioning in my office for the summer, basically. And part of it is the age of the units. These are the individual units, in the wall. They're not like that, but they're the units in the wall, and there's the control panel and what the thing is made of, and the kind of technology that it is from years ago. And it's now the vendors are making a different kind of HVAC panel, and technicians have to be trained on it. And are there technicians available left to repair ours, and how much delay is there so that we can get a different panel on our existing system? Do they actually work together? I mean, it's, again, another big complicated thing, just because the two kinds of technology are clashing. Right now, our vendor is still going through the system, kind of working through units that have been having trouble. For a while, mine was jammed shut, and now it's jammed open. There's others in the building that are jammed open, and then it's too cold. I mean, these are like first world problems, where it's too cold in the library. But, there's, a lot of tinkering like you were saying just before, it's a lot of tinkering with older systems. Same with the sprinkler. We have one leak, and then that section has to be repaired, and then so many months later we'll have another area of the building that will leak, and then we have to have that area repaired. And it's just, again, the spot fixings. So, to do an estimate of a total replacement, the vendors are very reluctant to give me an actual number to strip the whole building for either of these two systems and just, pull everything out and just give me a whole bunch of pipe and run stuff. They don't want to do that. They just say it's going to be too expensive. I'm like, well, I just need, it's gazillion dollars, or is it only a bazillion dollars? Which one? But they're just really reluctant to tell me. So this is a very random number, and the recommendation of the vendors is to not replace either of these systems. Two different vendors. The sprinkler system, they don't recommend taking everything out and putting a whole new thing in. They just don't. They just say, no, just replace as it breaks. I don't know if that's a vendor saying, call me when it breaks. I mean, they're going to get paid one way or the other. So I don't know. I think it's kind of a bigger question of how much do you feel is appropriate to invest in the building. I think that's the question that other boards have had to struggle with. How much do you want to, and we have been, I think we do need to be good stewards of the building. We certainly want to have the air conditioning running for people, in the summer and the heat running in the winter, but I don't know.
About comfort for
Sure.
people who.
Well, if it's over 89 degrees, we have to close the building and we can't have people in the building. And that's the interior. Last summer, it was 89 degrees, or maybe it was 2 summers ago, it was hot in the building. We replaced the chiller barrel outside, and it wasn't working, and we stayed open. And the trustees provided water for the staff, and we had fans everywhere, but that was not necessarily fun. Huh?
That sucked.
I'd probably close the building, if we did that again, knowing, looking back, but, yeah. So, yeah, these numbers, I would recommend keeping all of these three things on the CIP as well as the new building as a placeholder. And then we can add things like the security cameras and, let's see, the pass cards, things that we expect might cost a lot of money. Yeah. I don't know if there's anything else you want to add to it. Okay. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we're going to be planning for 16, 17. So we can put in for 16, 17.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we see, what, I have no idea how much that costs.
Okay.
I could look in the budget a couple of years ago when the school did it, but the school put in, I think, cameras that were a lot more expensive and we want to look at.
Maybe that's something you can put in your own budget.
Okay. This is it's due to Paul on the 3rd.
They put in the cameras that move and everything. I think we'd be able to do
Yeah,
stationary
stationary
cameras.
ones,
Yeah, 'cause
I don't think,
It-
yeah.
Yeah.
two stationary cameras for the cost of one of the moving cameras.
I see you back there with the joystick moving the cameras around.
Yeah, if nobody's monitoring the cameras,
Right.
there's no reason to have them moving.
Okay. No, we just saw Toy Story 3 again, at home, and there's a monkey. The monkey with the cymbals?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's a monkey with the cymbals who's watching the security cameras and is supposed to scream when people are trying to escape. Toys are trying to escape. So I just thought of the monkey.
That's what we need in the library.
Right next to the shelf elf.
Okay.
Little symbols.
There we go.
It's
Okay.
good we don't sit next to each other.
What about our window?
Okay, the window's in my director's report, but I'll jump ahead.
She hasn't even gotten to the director's report yet.
It It's under B.
She's not there yet.
I'm under the wrong.
Okay, so you'll get
Sorry.
numbers in the next 2 weeks, I guess, and
Yeah.
put them in there,
Oh, we'll try.
rough numbers.
So the CIP is due October 3rd?
To Paul. Yeah, all of the town departments are asked to review their CIPs and do they want to make any changes or additions to it? And then we send it to him and he compiles it and gets it to Eileen.
Moving on, C is 2016-17 operating budget. I put that on there because we need to, and we don't have to do this tonight, but schedule a meeting for our first review of the budget next year in October.
A separate meeting?
Right. Just because, if we try to squeeze it in a business meeting, it just doesn't work. We'll be here all night. So if everybody can look at their schedules for October, send me some dates that'll work for you.
Tuesdays works fine for me.
If we can stick to a Tuesday, it seems like that's, obviously a good night for everybody, then maybe send me some Tuesday dates. Which is the 20th.
And 20?
Yvette, when will we have an idea on that?
On the budget? Like a draft?
Right, like we don't want to, we don't want to start working on it until we have a draft.
I'll do it tomorrow. No, I can't do it tomorrow.
No, I'm thinking we don't want to do it too early in October and you don't have a chance to get to a draft, so.
I'm going to be out of town for, in the middle of the month for nearly 2 weeks. From the,
We'll email Jen with our schedules and then she can
yeah,
date it. Everybody's
So-
available.
Because we usually meet mid-October.
yeah, third Tuesday is usually it.
No, I mean
Our next meeting.
Oh,
is
for
on
the-
20th, so
For the budget.
we're a week or two before that.
When are you gone?
I'm gonna do that off
Yeah,
camera.
yeah,
Probably a good idea.
yeah. That's true, yes.
Okay, so,
Oh, right.
yes, so if
Yeah.
everybody can email me schedule dates.
Did you want it before, you wanted it before our next meeting?
Yeah, I mean, when I do the budget, I mean, if you look at the budget, there's stuff there's information that Paul sends me, which is the insurance and all the,
We don't control.
it's a lot of stuff that we don't control, and then the wages stay the same, and the workers' comp stays the same, and there's a lot of stuff like that. And then when I sit down with the department heads, office supplies, is this level good? Is that working for you guys? Yes, no, there's not a lot of movement in each budget line, except when you get to materials. Last year we cleaned it up, and I wanted to became very, very detailed because I wanted to know exactly how much money was being allotted to each line for certain materials. But we just made a lot of changes last year. The GMILK's cost always goes up because it's technology, it's an expensive thing, so we always budget in an increase for that. But that's just what I would do, is sit down with them and ask, are there any services that you'd want to add that we'd need to actually, it's a change in the materials line or something like that. And we've kicked around different ideas for stuff, but it's not usually a long list of things to change. I don't think. I mean, I think this year we want to see, can we include security cameras or pass cards or anything like that to secure the building better. I think that would be a priority. So.
Okay, so mid-October to, we'll discuss with Karen when she can meet after the meeting.
Well, I mean,
Unless it's a Comic-Con.
There you go.
I mean, we could, if you want to do it on the 20th, you could say meet a little bit earlier, you know, or see that there's an agenda that's kind of lighter. You know, maybe we don't talk about those policies that you wanted last month.
If everybody's fine with that, I'm fine with that. I think unless there's something else going on in the kids' schedule, then I don't think there's that many, so.
What, meeting early on the 20th?
Well, if it's like, even if it's 6:30.
No, oh. Karen's skipping that meeting.
You're saying, oh, you can't.
Take it up for this.
Sorry.
Took a couple of hours.
Let's discuss that after.
Yeah, let's.
Okay, so let's move ahead. Personnel forms and job descriptions. So I don't know if you have any job descriptions. You said perhaps.
No, not that one.
Personnel forms we got from you in the packet.
Yeah.
Yes, so we created these new forms. This is a time off request form and a shift switch request form. This would be used in all of the departments where, you know, we have the staff and the department head makes the schedule, and then right now we just kind of scribble out or write in or write a note, or and there's a communication notebook, and there's a different way that it's been occurring, I guess. And now that we have a new staff person who's supervising circulation, which has a lot of part-time staff and a lot of moving pieces in a schedule, she thought it would be best to be able to track requests so that it's not just, but I told them I was, but she said yes, and just a little more careful. And then the switching, you know, this is just something that she's used in the past at other.
You'll need a policy to back this up.
I think this is actually procedural, but because right now there's really, in terms of procedure for switching, it's a very verbal thing. It's not.
You should have something in writing on back it up.
I can check. I'll check the staff policy manual. I don't
No,
carry that with
staff
me,
manual
but
would be fine. Yeah, there should be something to back it up, that's all.
okay.
The only thing I noticed that I was questioning was, it says you must submit it 4 weeks before the requested date, and they have death in family. Obviously, that necessarily
Yeah.
4 weeks. Yeah, you can't die before October.
Grandma?
Yeah.
You gotta go.
So I don't know if there should just be some notation that obviously there's.
It's a nice form.
It'll work.
Shorter notice for that.
Okay.
It's a nice form. I think it gets at what you needed to get at, and you can keep track of things nicely.
Because like sick time and death in the family, you can't really plan that.
Right. And that might be why it's
Yeah,
towards the
sick
end.
time,
but
yeah.
yeah.
Well, sick
Even
leave.
jury duty, you can't really plan ahead.
Well, but it's, you know, I mean, what I've been saying to the staff in terms of requesting time off, like holiday time, you know, let us know as soon as you know, you know, not the day before or 2 days before. You know, the schedules are made at least a month ahead for the following month.
You would also need a policy for the time off.
I made a note of that. I'll check to see if what's in writing now. I mean, I wouldn't want to necessarily get too specific so that it's too rigid, but I'll look.
Well, basically, the policy is you fill out a time request form, and the procedure is this is what you do.
Right.
Maybe there were two in one.
Yeah.
There were. Document.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
it's a half
mine
sheet.
printed too.
Yeah, but no, literally printed it twice.
Yeah, mine did too.
Yeah, probably
If they're going to
attached.
stay the same, we can give them to you, Yvette, and you can have them whatever.
Mine printed.
Okay.
You should have them for your stack.
Okay.
Okay. We're down to treasurer's report.
8.
Sorry, Laura. Into the children house. That's your show.
All right. Did you only send the one account?
What?
I want to see the fines.
No.
Oh,
Two fines, there it is.
yeah.
The two fines.
So,
Which ones are you looking at?
what am I looking at? I'm not looking at it anymore.
She changed them all.
Yeah, that's right, because this is the one in the new format.
Well, the fines is horizontal because it's less categories, but they both have columns now. So the fines, you're looking at fines August. That's the horizontal one.
Right, this one.
Yep.
And then I have two.
You have two specials because I didn't give you the July special because I hadn't figured out the
Okay,
budget.
that's what I'm, yep.
I had just given you the
Yeah, there's
spending
July,
and
then there's August.
Yeah, so July
receipts.
started with the special checking at 11,283 and 22 cents. Ended August 11,708 and 28 cents.
Ended July.
Or ended July, yes, and then went at the end of August. It was at 10,308 and 3 cents.
Mhm.
With the majority of that going to materials. And then fines checking. It's okay. The fines you didn't give for August, then, just for July?
No, this is just for August.
Just
How
August.
am I reading this one then?
No, because last month you got fines July. You didn't get special July. Because I had only given you the income and the disbursements for July. I hadn't given you the budget estimate because I hadn't finished that part.
Oh,
That's
and
why
it
you're
was-
getting the
Down here it
complete-
says July, that's
Yeah.
what's confusing me.
That should say
on the bottom.
August.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, that's just me having too many windows
That
open.
should say
That's-
August,
Yes, it
okay.
should.
So the beginning of August
Okay.
started at $10,720.47, and then the end of August, not the end of July,
Yeah.
it's $12,103.55. Okay, that's what was throwing me off. It said July at the bottom and August on
At the
top.
top.
I'm trying-
Yeah, I know in the special it looks like I have the balance as of at the top, which I can add.
Okay.
May I make a request that on the top of the form, you put the meeting date that you present this? Because it's the only way I know how to categorize it, is when I get them. Otherwise, because if somebody says, well, we got that in the September meeting, I
Okay.
couldn't tell you which one I got in the September meeting because there's no reference point as to
Okay.
when I got the
Just like
form.
something up here in the corner.
Yeah, I don't care where it is. Yeah, on the upper right or something, it just says presented to the board on what date or something like that, so we have a reference point. Because we get more than one document that says balance as of this date. That's all, thank you.
Okay.
It just helps my confused mind.
Well, you didn't send out the director's report, did you?
Nope.
That's why I couldn't find it.
I
I'm looking all over.
emailed you that it would be coming.
Yeah, you did.
That's why she's building it up.
Looking
It's
over
all
on you, I'm going, you
suspense
got it.
No, there's no suspense. It was just.
It's sitting right here. I've been trying to peek at it.
It's not. Now it's going to be let down. It's just because I didn't have time after the book sale to finish the packets and write my director's report. I needed to go home.
Oh, Yvette, you didn't need to sleep this
Oh,
morning.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Home?
I'm sorry. I
Oh.
slept. I'm sorry. I'm weak.
Going home?
Sorry.
Good heavens.
Okay, so without further delay, we're to the director's report.
Oh, goody.
I don't have. No, I don't.
Hit the 1 hour mark.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry. Go fast. Okay, here, I have mine. Okay. So,
Just one page.
it's just one page. we received a donation of a copy of American Wood and Metal Planes. This is a book by Andrew Delia, and I didn't bring the book because I don't normally bring the books, but I brought some things that were included in the submission. But you can vote to accept that, and we can add that to our collection.
Like airplanes?
It's a book about
I didn't read the book.
airplanes.
A broad sampling of over 1,500 planes.
Planes.
Planes, no, planes. Tools.
Woodworking planes.
Tools. It's about an antique tool museum.
Okay.
And who
Alright.
donated it?
Andrew Delia.
Oh, the author.
Well, that was nice.
I vote to accept it.
Okay.
Make a motion to accept it.
Second.
Second, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay.
Okay. And then moving to personnel, we had, I had reported before that we were doing a job search for an e-resources librarian. That was a position that was added in the last year's budget cycle. We went through that process and discovered that our most qualified candidate was actually already on staff. So I had discussed with you, with the board, to restructure the Adult Services Department, and that is what I'm now reporting on in public. So Alex Estabrook, who is our current head of Adult Services, remains the head of Adult Services, but will focus his efforts on reference and e-resources. And then we promoted Jennifer Green. She was our part-time temporary reference librarian this summer, and we promoted her to full-time reference librarian and circulation supervisor. What that means is really, when you're looking at the budget, you have e-resources librarian as a full-time position, and it's just moving things around a little bit. It doesn't impact the budget at all. But now, because of her skill set, we're able to actually have a supervisor in circulation instead of having one staff trying to supervise two very large for the library departments. Adult services being reference and circulation. Now we have someone kind of appointed to dealing with circulation. And then we promoted Lisa Joes. She was our part-time circulation aide to part-time reference librarian, because while these interviews were going along, we lost Allison Doyle, who took a full-time position and created this opening for a part-time position. So all the PARs and the paperwork have been signed and processed. They've already started their positions. You just need to publicly vote to accept this.
I move that we accept.
Yeah,
them.
I don't know. I made a note that,
Oh, we did.
did we?
Yeah, I think so.
Publicly?
We went back into public.
Yeah,
Okay,
we went
so
back
maybe it
into
wasn't
public.
on camera.
Yeah, it was
on the-
right at the end of the meeting.
So we can do it again. I move we
Well,
accept these
I don't
again.
think we did Lisa, because that was a promotion.
No, right, we didn't.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
what
it's
okay, so here's what it was.
Yeah, we have
To accept the proposed reorganization of adult services. This reorganization will now include e-resources and the reorganization of job responsibilities as proposed by the library director. The head of adult services and e-resources will be Alex Estabrook. I think that is all encompassing
it.
to everything.
Yeah, I think he was the only one we approved.
Okay.
So I'll make the motion to approve the other
Okay.
changes as discussed in the director's report.
And I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Okay. Thank you.
For the next meeting or sometime, can I have, or we have another layout, like another one of your diagrams
the-
of how everybody is laid out
An
now?
organizational chart.
So at this point, what positions do we have open then? Do we still have,
We have an opening in tech services, which we have not updated the job description yet. There's also an opening in circulation. But neither of those have been posted. We are not yet accepting
none of these
applications
part-time
for it.
positions are still open at this point?
Well, Lisa created a part-time opening moving from circulation to reference. What I've asked Jennifer and Alex to do as the new team is see, and we're also doing staff evaluations in that department right now. So I've asked them to see if there's a better way to organize the schedule. You know, do we need to still hire someone to fill the open hours, or are there staff who are available to take, you know, to kind of pick up more hours without really making an impact on the budget, because we want to keep everything the same. You know, some people have expressed they'd like a little more flexibility. They'd like to switch things up, you know. They're more available now, or they're less available now. So we're just trying to listen to see what the needs are of the staff while we can still provide the coverage that we need to get the work done. So at this point, we'll probably still need to post the job, and we'll still have to get her position filled. You know, I don't think going from 5 to 4 is going to work yet. Although people are trying to pick up hours as they're able, it's just probably not. And then the tech services position needs to be, that job description needs to be updated. That may be something where we can have a dual tech services work, and then also being available to cover at circulation when it's busy. But that's still a couple of weeks out. So, does that answer your question? Organizational chart. So now I don't have any grants to report. The north window, Laura, that you're asking about, that window has been ordered and manufactured, and we are now waiting on a date when it can be installed. I just had the vendor in yesterday, and was just kind of giving a final look at the space in the window. And there's a chair rail, a wooden chair rail against the window that has to be removed. So I talked to Peter about removing that. He thinks he'll be able to remove it in one piece, and we can clean it up, and it can be salvaged and then reinstalled on the new window to protect the window. The depth of the window is narrower than the current window when you're looking at how wide is the window, you know, from the inside of the window to the outside of the window. So there might be areas of the carpet that's now going to be exposed, floor. We might need to find some carpet remnants. We do have carpet remnants in the basement. So we'll have to see, you know, what is it going to look like when the window's finished, and do we need to kind of fill in this kind of cosmetic area? And then also on the sides where the wall is it, because it's going to be narrow, we're going to need to go in and do some paint. So I don't know yet, and we don't have a date.
What was the resolution of the smaller windows underneath the large?
They're going to be
window?
windows.
They're going to be windows, that's what I thought. And it's a highly energy efficient window.
It's going to be a very good window, yes. Yes.
Will it look different from others that are there? I mean, like when you're looking at it, you said it's going to be narrower, and
It's going to be less deep.
I understand.
Yeah.
But will it, like I assume that the window has some, like double paned or something like that. It's obviously not going to be single paned. So is there going to be some visual?
I haven't seen a picture of the window, but when I talked to the vendor, it was like, I need this window replaced. Replace it with something that looks like this window. I'm hoping they understood that's what I wanted. I didn't want anything different. I mean, in terms of it clashing with the surroundings, I doubt it. And, comparing it to other windows in the building, there are no other windows. So, not concerned about that. But it should be more efficient. We right now, the problem that we've been having, just to remind you, we've been having a problem with leaking along the lintel. Mm-hmm. So that's really the fix that we're going for. This is not a cosmetic fix. This is something so that we won't have window leaks anymore. So as soon as I know a date, I'll, send the date around. I've told them that I'd like to keep the library open during this work if they're able to come in and get it installed quickly over the course of 12 hours. But if they're not able to do that, I told them I need to know immediately so that I can make arrangements to shut the building down.
They able to start like early in the morning, so before the library's even open?
A lot of times we have had vendors come in at 7 o'clock in the morning. I mean, then you have a good, 12, 13, 14 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, that's someone's work overtime, for a vendor, but, yeah. I mean, I've told them that my intention is to keep the building open, but if I can't, then you need to let me know so I can close the building. Okay, so on to programming. The summer reading challenge was a total success. The goal for the kids and teens to read was 10,000 hours, and they surpassed it by 977 hours more. And 68 participants finished the challenge. This is the highest number we've had of people who have completed the reading challenge. 68% of people who who signed up finished. And because we met our goal, the Friends of the Merrimack Public Library will be making a donation of $500 to Veterans Count New Hampshire. This is just a reminder that the Fall Business Expo is this Saturday, the 19th, at the high school. We'll have a table in the parking lot outside, and groups can start to come to the high school as early as 7 o'clock a.m. to set up outside. I'm probably going to aim for 8:30. It shouldn't take too long to set up a canopy and a couple of tables and chairs and what have you. But so whenever you're available, let me know. And that goes till 3. The Little Free Library. The Little Free Library is now at the park. Public Works will be installing it at the park. It should be this week. I just spoke to Matt yesterday. Matt Kasparius, who's the head of Parks and Rec, and he's all for ribbon cutting and photo op, but he'll just let me know when it's done, and then we can go fill it and let people know that it's there. And then September is National Library Card Sign-Up Month. Snoopy is the official mascot of this endeavor. When you think about sending your child back to school, one of the tools that they can get that would help them is, of course, a library card. So we really try and go into the schools and remind people that they should have a library card. Kind of like to go along with that, I'll just jump down, that if you work in Merrimack, you're eligible for a library card. And we just turned on a feature in our system that allows patrons, or I guess potential patrons, residents, to kind of register themselves for a card, and they get a temporary activation that's good for 30 days. And within those 30 days, you want to go in and get your physical card, but you can start using the e-resources immediately. So that's a new feature that's been turned on. A couple of events that are coming up also. September 30th, this is a new event that we just booked. We're partnering with Merrimack Friends and Families to host a volunteer fair. The guest speaker is Counselor Tom Mahon, and he's going to be speaking about different opportunities if people are interested in volunteering that are available in Merrimack, including the boards and the committees, and other organizations will also be there, so you can speak to representatives from those organizations.
What time that's going to be?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock?
Yeah, and it'll be down in the Clump Room. I did send an email to Claire Muse, the president of the Friends, to see if any of the Friends will be available that night. This was something that really was just put together probably last week. Let's see, the fall book sale. So we took in $1,539. 100% of the proceeds goes to the Merrimack Public Library Development Fund. So I have a check for Rick to sign. Okay. And then two other partnerships that I didn't type in here, but I can just kind of add. We're also partnering with a couple of other groups in town. The Lions Club, we're a collection site for shoes. They're doing a shoebox donation, and that would be if you have gently used shoes available, then you can donate it in our box, which is in our entryway, and they will take those to be redistributed either locally or internationally, and that really prevents old shoes that are still in good use from being tossed into a landfill. We're also partnering with the Lions Club with their Scarecrow project. They started selling their scarecrows at the library this past Saturday during the book sale. Their normal hours are going to be 10 to 1. They'll have a table outside, and they'll have their kits available for $20. Saturdays, that's what you approved, through September and October. So right before Halloween, I think Halloween is a Saturday, so it's like the 24th is the last day they'll be. Unless the kits run out, then they're done. They've made 150 kits.
The little tiger one, is that one they put up?
That's when they put up, and I don't remember seeing it on Saturday at the book sale, but I wasn't necessarily looking for a tiger. But when they come on Saturdays, they have samples available. I haven't put together our scarecrows yet, but ours will be out in front of the library, and then hopefully they'll start cropping up around town again. But yeah, they have a new child size. The child size kit is the one that's the tiger that's in front of the library. And it's also $20 for the head and the frame. And then last partnership that we are the place to partner with. The dog park, the Merrimack Dog Park, or the Friends of the Merrimack Dog Park, have asked us to be another collection point for clothes and jewelry and other kinds of things. So maybe if you're bringing clothes, just put the shoes in the Lions box and put the rest of the stuff in the other box for the dog park. So they are working with Savers Club, where, it's a secondhand store, and with Savers, if you partner with them and collect donations, they will pay or make a donation back to the organization by the pound, as I understand it. So we're a collection point for the dog park.
For Savers is, I'm sorry, they're a used store?
It's like the Goodwill or the
right.
Salvation Army.
Oh,
They give a portion of the money to charities.
okay.
Where are you putting all of
There's no room in there.
There's 2 boxes. I mean, this doesn't take up a lot of space. It's by the top of the stairs where the glass is. I was talking to someone from the Lions Club yesterday about the shoe donation, and she said that their intent was to have this be a year-round collection point in the same way that we collect glasses for them. We're a collection point for them. So I said probably then I would move it to the vestibule where the glasses box is, and I said I could see about making some room for her if I think it's fine.
Now, the one for the dog park.
That's like over on Saturday.
I saw people bringing stuff in, but it was like all like pet market stuff that they brought in.
I don't know what people are bringing. It's as I understand it, it was stuff that can be donated to Savers, and then Savers will be in charge of giving them money. But that collection is only supposed to be until Saturday. I don't really have any updates from the consortiums. We had the accountant, the town hires an accountant to go through all of the department books. So the accountant was here at the end of August, and he looked through the trustees' fines and special and DCU and fidelity account statements. So thank you for sending those to me. He had a couple of suggestions on how we can improve our reconciliation procedures. One of them was to the monthly report that I just gave you. He wanted that to be sent to the finance director as well, rather than he gets a statement at the end of the year, which is kind of like, the June. When you see your statement in June, it's really all the year's activity. And he said it would be, better practices, to just send him it monthly. So I did send one to Paul today. I haven't heard back from him if this is exactly what he wants or not.
Do you have any recommendations about maybe condensing to one bank or anything like that? Or
no, he doesn't talk about that. No. It's just, he doesn't talk about what you should do with your money. It's just, now that you have money, make sure none of it gets lost, or something like that. We've talked about getting a cash register, so that we can have better accounting procedures just in-house, which maybe I won't talk about so much. But, and just a couple of really nice things. I'll end on a happy note. I have some really nice emails from some patrons of ours that I wanted to share with you. So I have this email from John Susignant, which I probably am not saying correctly, but he came into the library to do some work and really could not say enough nice things about Lisa Joes, who we just promoted to be a reference librarian. But while she was at the circulation desk, he just said she was cheery and had so much willingness to take time to look into the issue that he had that he was dealing with. She helped set him up with an email account as a guest. And he just observed her greeting our patrons when they came in and showed a lot of professionalism and warmth with each person, while presenting a welcome and a sense that their visits to the library were appreciated. Lisa could be the poster child for strong customer service. He said, although I was frustrated by the scheduling miscommunication from my organization, the work he was dealing with, I left the library with a positive feeling thanks to Lisa's efforts. So just congratulations to Lisa. It's nice when you finally, not that I finally get a nice report, but people are very willing to complain, but not so willing to, say, hey, that was a great job. So great job, Lisa. And I did share that with her and her supervisor already, but I thought I'd share it with you. And then we just had a really nice comment from Tracy Ann Bowen, who's one of our patrons, and she was willing to share this publicly as well, that the summer reading program, her daughter Alora is reading like crazy. She really loves it, and it's so wonderful that she gets prizes for doing something she loves. Very positive reinforcement. She always looks forward to the summer reading. Thank you for all you do. It really helps us parents foster the love of reading in kids with a library that's so much fun. So that's just another nice kudos to the children's staff and everyone who works really hard on summer reading. Yeah, really nice. Well, couldn't do it without them.
Did Liz, I know at least at the beginning of the program, she was collecting the filled up cards to see what the kids were reading. Did she compile a list or anything of the books that they were reading? We don't normally, I don't know if I know what you're talking about, but normally when people return books, we don't keep a record of what they're reading. The kids' reading logs, because they wrote down on the logs what books they read.
In the teen section.
Oh, I didn't do the teen reading program. We only did the children's one in my house.
She used that for anything?
I don't know, because I don't know. That's a great question. I could ask her. I don't know. For collection development.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll ask her.
Curiosity.
Okay.
I know. I can tell you at the book sale, there was a teen that went into the little teen room, and she was all excited about the manga closet there.
That is the thing, That is the coolest thing ever.
And I heard her like, "Look, Mom, they have this series, and look, they have that series." Yep.
Yeah, that's a great use of space.
Yeah.
It really, really is, because it used to just be where we put carts. I think at one time it was the previous director's office. She had a desk in there.
In the closet?
Yes. Well, she sat outside.
Okay.
Okay, operating budgets.
Yeah, so we're still very early in the year. Yes, it's in the back of that.
Yeah. I have it somewhere.
That's it.
General ledger.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is the budget. These would be the different lines when we're looking at the next year's budget. If we're seeing that there's like last year we added to the building maintenance line because we knew there were a lot of repairs that had been done last year, so we increased that line this year. And then if you look at the bottom, you're asking about like the CIP money for this year. It's the capital reserve fund. That's $10,000. That's what's allotted for any electrical work. So when we're looking at the CIP for the future years, if it's for next year and we're putting in video cameras and pass cards and whatever else, that's where it would appear. It's capital reserve fund.
I'm looking at the wage lines, and they're coming up negative
Negative,
percents.
yeah.
I think there's a miscalculation.
I think when they turn the budget, it's a little different and it settles out
Yeah.
later. I mean, everyone's getting paid what they're supposed to.
Yeah, it just looks weird the way the
Yeah.
percents came out negative on those.
And under office equipment, we have 8.78% left or spent, or it's down near the bottom.
Yeah.
Strange.
What would other outside services include?
For example, when we have a problem with the computers, we'll hire a consultant to come in. That's an outside service.
Just miscellaneous vendors.
Yes. I mean, it's anything from something like that to, you know, sending stuff to the bindery. It's not in-house work that
Do
we
we
do.
need to include snow removal here?
That's something we should talk about, yeah, because last year we looked at adding it to the budget and instead we added a temporary position, a seasonal position. Some of that is because of the amount of insurance I think we would have to carry if we were gonna, I think it was, yeah, it was the insurance, and so if they were a temporary employee, they were covered by the town's insurance if God forbid something happened. Because the vendor himself didn't have the kind of insurance that he needed to take care of our snow.
You talking about the shoveling?
I'm talking about the plowing and the shoveling, yeah.
Both of
And,
them.
and snow blowing, yeah, because he did a little bit of plow work. The town comes in and plows the lot, but we don't have someone dedicated to shovel. You know, it's been me, it's been Peter, it's been volunteers. I mean, it's been very cobbled together.
I thought we were going to hire somebody to do that last year.
We did.
We did, but we hired him temporarily for
Can we do
Right,
that again?
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We can look at
So,
that as an option.
can't we
I
do
don't
that
know if he's
again?
going to accept.
Well, that would be it.
No.
I guess. I mean, it would be,
Huh?
Yeah.
it would be to our advantage to do
Yeah, I
that.
think
I
that
don't know if it would be to his advantage.
Right.
I mean, I think that that's prudent because I really don't want the staff doing that. We don't have the scaffolding there, thank goodness.
Yeah, it'll be easier. That was hard to clear around it.
So I would be in favor of adding some snow removal here to the budget.
shifting money.
Mhm.
At this point, the budget's already been approved. so-
Yeah, this is, yeah.
For the 16-17 budget. that
Well,
would be
if
next
we-
month,
Yeah.
that's what-
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we didn't account for that. Right, hadn't we hired him after we already did the budget?
Mhm.
Yeah.
But we had $500 for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right.
We put in 500 for that,
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay.
That can be shifted to another page. Yeah, it seems it's the ones that have an encumbrance, and it deducts the encumbrance.
Yeah, that's exactly, it looks like it deducts it instead of
Balance, and that's why it shows up as either
instead of
negative
adding it or
negative.
something. It's deducting it. I don't know.
So really, you just need to look at the balance line and forget
Yeah.
about the rest of it.
Yeah, exactly.
business, I have policy reviews, but we're not doing any this month, so
Nope.
we'll just carry over until next time. Other business, we just have this correspondence coming, I guess I can throw it in here, which is a letter from Boston Asset Management. This is something we can put on a future agenda, but I'll just let you know, this came in and I'll pass it around, you can read it. Saying the recent passage of House Bill HB 297 now allows library trustees to utilize the prudent investor rules. They had rules against, it was really hard to get, to use like a financial advisor for, consulting about your funds. So now there's been a change to that. So obviously this is somebody who's looking to offer their services. I'm not saying we need to go with them, but I think maybe next time we can look into this. And maybe, Rick, you can look into a little more detail on what the change was and what we're allowed to do
Yeah.
now. So I'll pass that down.
Do you want me to hold on to this?
Yeah, if you want, I don't know if everybody
You
wants
guys
to take a
wanna
look
read it
at it,
first?
and then maybe you can hold on to it and kind of, if you don't mind doing a little research.
Okay.
Okay, anybody else have any other business?
Well, one, I don't know if you want to talk about it, about that woman that emailed about interest in possibly donating.
I haven't
for
heard
us.
back from her.
You haven't heard back from her?
No. No, I mean, I guess I got a phone call and Rick got an email from someone who read the article that was in the journal that was Rick's report after the meeting, mentioning that we were going to be installing a little free library, and this person called saying they were interested in it. So I haven't heard back from them yet, so I'm not sure if they understand that this is a structure that they would purchase, in the name of someone, in someone's memory. I don't know a lot of details of what they're thinking, and then install it in their property. So, so kind of waiting to hear back.
Yeah.
I've had lots of nice comments on the story. Thought it was
I
very
heard a couple
informative,
too.
and they were glad to get the updates about what's going on.
Who's up next? Who wants to do on this one?
Well, I can't hear you, what?
Who's going to write a report for next month?
Who wants to write the update?
You're talking about an article to the Merrimack Library, to the Merrimack Journal. Is that what you mean?
No, well, it's really just something that you would write and send to me, and then I would send it to our email list of people who are general information about the library. We have several email lists that people have expressed that they want to be on, and that's what this is. The Journal picked it up as a piece of news and published it in the paper. So they didn't let me know they were doing that, but
Rick, you did such a nice
someone
job
let me know.
last month.
I was kind of surprised to hear that it was in the journal.
Right, so I did a few, Rick did last time.
I did last month, so the three of you get to do next one.
I just want to, I want to have fair representation if you want. If none of the three of you is interested, then I'll just do it this time.
Well, I would not mind doing a different month,
Okay.
but not October.
Not too much exciting.
Well, no, because I've got other things. Yeah.
Well, this would be the report of this.
It's just pretty much
September
a recap
meeting.
of our meeting.
Yeah,
and
just-
highlights, anything we wanted to talk about.
About the scarecrows being sold. Things like
Yeah.
that.
I'm. I
do
can
it.
help you if you. I can help. I can edit.
I just, what I didn't want was my picture out there all the time and without you guys being represented, so.
Well, I think the other thing is, when it was time for the election, what the feedback we were getting from the public was nobody knew what the board did. So this was part of this kind of initiative to put regular faces out there. I'll just look at all your faces. Regular people with what you do and how you balance the duties of being a trustee with your work and your family and any other things you might do. So that's what I think the first two letters kind of tried to portray.
So I'll do November.
You'll do
I'll do
November. Okay.
November.
So you'll be reporting on the October meeting, whatever happens.
Yeah.
And I'll do December.
I guess I'll take January. Feel like
You
guilty
did
to
a lot of time to
January.
think about it.
Exactly. I'll learn. I'll learn for the next 3 months.
Also, I looked at what Jen wrote in the previous months, and I used her template.
Right.
Did it
That's a good
work out?
idea.
Muse has to be with me.
I just don't
No,
know
it
if I
doesn't.
saved
And-
any of them.
Yvette is a terrific editor, so you send it to her and she'll clean it up.
I don't mind ghost writing or being your voice. I was a playwriting major, so it's really fun to go back and be like, I am now Laura. I am now Karen. I'm now Karen. Different energy.
Totally. If any at all.
Okay, so are you doing it, Jen?
I will do this one first, September. Okay, calendar. We meet again October 20th at 7 p.m. right back here at Town Hall. As Yvette brought up, Merrimack Fall Festival and Business Expo is on the 19th, this Saturday, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Merrimack High School. Friends of the Library, I have at 10:08, but
They're
they're going to meet
they're-
next
well, this
Thursday.
month's meeting got moved to the 24th.
Okay, so the meeting Thursday, the 24th, 7 p.m.
Yeah.
And then their October meeting is October 8th at 7 p.m. I have director's office, but sometimes it moves around to one of the
Yeah.
meeting rooms. And then Development Fund, October 19th, 5 o'clock. Director's office or little room.
I think they liked the Lowell
Yeah,
room.
it's nice.
I'll see if it's available.
Comments from us public board members? Motion to adjourn.
To adjourn?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 It's the quickest minute right here, everybody.
Didn't quite make the hour.
I'll be able to get the last guy.
Oh, is it 2 hours?
Oh, is it 2 hours?
It's 2 hours.
Okay,
What is this?
Shut your microphone
America's
off.
Got Talent.
Now that I've invited every
Final show.
in the known world.